Hey YouTube, Southwest252 here with another video. This time I'll be reviewing the NG Models 1/400 scale Southwest Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8, the Herbert D. Kelleher, which is in the Desert Gold Retro livery. Before I get into the review, I would just like to say I'd really appreciate it if you could check out my Instagram. The link for that is in the description below. Before I get to the model, I will start off with the box. So you do have the kind of brownish gold color in the top left half of the box. It does say Boeing 737 MAX 8. You have the computer-generated image in the middle of the aircraft. It does say Southwest across the whole front as well, the Herbert D. Kelleher. And then you have the registration of this model, which is November 871 Hotel Kilo. In the bottom right, you do have the NG Models logo, 1/400 scale, collectible models, die-cast metal. Since it hasn't been released yet, I don't have it to compare with this box, but you can tell in the very bottom right corner, you have the just a teeny little spot of the canyon blue and then the yellow cheat line. So I'm assuming that the box art for that will match up nicely with this one. But like I said, it's not released yet, so I can't put them together. You can kind of see it better on the bottom of the box too with the box art. And on the bottom of the box, it just pretty much says the same stuff as the front, but it also includes the item number, which for this model is 88001. The left side is just brownish gold with the Southwest title. The top is almost the same as the bottom, and then the right side is almost the same as the left side. On the back of the box, you've got that same box art. And don't forget to check out the NG Models social media. And choking hazard small parts for adult collectors, not suitable for children under 14 years. That is all for the box, and now for the model. Now this is NG's very first 737 MAX release, and this is the first MAX 8 as well. Overall, I think the mold is pretty good. My one little criticism is that the curvature at the top of the engine isn't curved up enough. Maybe it's just slightly less than it should be. Also, the winglet, the bottom portion, I think should be maybe slightly angled down a little bit more. But overall, those two are very minor things that you probably wouldn't really even notice. So I know I'm really nitpicking that a lot, but I did just want to point that out. But everything else seems pretty much perfect in terms of the mold. And now I'll get in with the specifics of this one, which is, of course, the Southwest Desert Gold. So at the front, you do have the nose cone painted on. You have the white cheat line down the middle of the aircraft with the gold on top. The bottom is red. It does say the Herbert D. Kelleher titles on the front. It does say on the gear door, it does say 871, which is the fleet number, and then the ETOPS, Extended Range Twin Engine Operational Performance Standards, which means this one can be seen on routes to and from Hawaii. So I do think this is the first special livery that they've actually flown to Hawaii, so that's pretty nice. And you do have your nose gear. The front nose gear, they're just painted white. The main gear are painted red, which you'll see later. You have your L1 door, and then you have your passenger windows down the fuselage of the aircraft. You have the antenna in the middle. You have the emergency escape doors and the routings painted on the wings. You have your gray flat fairings. That is accurate for this model. The old 737-700s did have the red flat fairings. This one only has the gray painted. That's because the original livery way back when they actually did not have the red flat fairings. That was just the 700s that did. So the 200s, 300s, 500s did not. However, Southwest did make a whole ton of other changes to this livery. Of course, NG's done a great job replicating that, but I don't know why Southwest has changed all the other things. You've all heard me talk about it before, so I'm not going to talk any more about that this time in this review. But you do have the wingtips here. The bottom halves are just gray, but you do have the iconic triple color stripe on the top halves. It's not really focusing for that side, but maybe I can get this side. Because of the shape of the MAX winglet, the Southwest.com is smaller on this aircraft, and therefore this model. However, I think NG's put it a little bit lower than it is on the real aircraft. It should be up further, but it does have the gold, and then the white sheet line, the red, and then the sheet line, and then the orange, just how it should be. Then here you have your Max engines. It's got the chevrons in the back, nice design, and then you have your inside view of the engines. And then towards the back, you do have the Wi-Fi dome on top. You've got another antenna. And towards the back, you have the registration, which again for this model is November 871 Hotel Kilo, fleet number 871, and ETOPS above that rear door. And then you have the classic Southwest tail, the American flag on it. And then on the right side, you've got all the same things, just with the cargo and luggage doors there on the front above that antenna, and then in the back to the bottom right of the registration. So here is the front view of this aircraft. You can get a better view of the nose there. And now all the other details. Here is the left side of the model. And one thing I will say, the nose gear does seem to be a little at an angle. It shouldn't really be, so that's maybe one thing NG could work on for this mold. And then here is the right side. Sorry, the rear view of the aircraft. Here is the right side. The top view. And here's the bottom. So again, it's just mostly red. I know on the Heart livery ones, I'm pretty sure it does say Max 8 up by the nose cone. I don't actually know if this retro livery in real life does or not, so I actually can't tell if that's a mistake on NG's part that it's not there, or if Southwest just hasn't painted it. It wouldn't surprise me if Southwest didn't paint it, so I can't take any points off there for that. I'd have to go check that later. But then again, you have underneath the engines and wings, the main gear are painted red on the outsides, gray on the insides. You've got your two antennas there in the front. You move to the back, you've got the tail scraper in the orange section. Then you have the doors for the APU and the APU itself all the way in the back. So one final thing I wanted to share with you before I get the rating in. I think NG has done a very good job with the coloring of the paint for the gold portion of this aircraft. The 737-700 that Gemini released, I think, almost 2 years ago, that was completely wrong. I do think this is a very hard livery to capture, especially with its metallic elements. On camera, I'm looking at this, it looks a little bit lighter than the actual model is. But also I have looked at the model in different lighting conditions, and just like the real aircraft, it does change based on the lighting condition. So because of all of that and the nature of this livery, I think NG's done a really good job capturing it. So I'm not going to take off any points for the coloring. It's almost perfect. The only things that I will take off is very slight things with the mold that I mentioned, like the engines maybe not being quite curved enough, the winglet on the bottom maybe just needs to be a little bit angled, just a tad down, and then with the nose gear being bent, that's not going to affect the score majorly. I'm just going to knock it down to a 29.5 out of 30. But overall, this is a fantastic model. I'm very excited to have this model. And also, I will be getting the Gemini version, so whenever that comes out, I will do a comparison with this model as well to show you the differences and my thoughts of which one I think is better, but obviously we're going to have to wait for that. And other than that, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button down below and consider subscribing to my channel if you're new. And once again, I'd really appreciate it if you could check out my Instagram. The link for that is in the description below. Thanks again for watching. Bye.
We would like to point out the safety features of this Boeing 737-700 series aircraft. You're looking at the Southwest Airlines bestseller. It's a safety information card. It's in the seat pocket in front of you. It works as a fan for no extra charge. You're welcome. And it reads as a comic book. It has a lot of short stories. None of them ends well. Absolutely.